Hello, everyone. Welcome back. And welcome to Think, Engage, Thrive, our show on entrepreneurship, where we showcase some of the most inspiring and innovative entrepreneurs. So if you've ever thought about starting your own business, you should watch this show because we're going to tell you the good, the bad, and the funny stories of startups. Everybody's got some good stories about the struggle that we've gone through as entrepreneurs, as startup, as business people. Tonight, we're thrilled to have with us Torrey Tayenaka, from founding his first production startup in high school, his multifaceted role as CEO of Sparkhouse today. Torrey is an acclaimed and unstoppable force in the high concept branded video production and serial entrepreneurship. Let me just say this. I've worked with a lot of entrepreneurs and they develop great products, great apps, great systems, great everything, but they always forget about the marketing. And the marketing is one of the most important things on how to break through the clutter and how to get noticed. And Torrey excels at video and actually the whole creative process. But, you know, it's important today to figure out a way to break through the clutter and make yourself known. Video being one of the biggest methods because people are consuming it. We're consuming it on social media. We're consuming it on TV. We're consuming it everywhere. So it's a tried and true methodology. So let's bring him in. Torrey, thanks for being here with us today.
You got the crowd. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, we just, you know, let's go back and let's talk about, give everybody a little bit of your background. And again, you know, take your time. We've got plenty of time to talk, no rush, but let's, you know, we want to hear about your background. What got you started? What was your motivator? And really, why did you start? It's not really a path that I think a lot of people choose, the entrepreneurial path, let's say, but it's rewarding in a lot of ways, but it's also challenging in a lot of ways. So what made you choose that path? What was your desire? What was your motivator?
Yeah, I will say, I mean, I started a version of Sparkhouse, which is a video production, video marketing agency. I started a version of that called OC Film Productions when I was 14 years old in high school. Basically, because I took a film class, a photo class, really fell in love with it. Knew I was good at it and it was something I could sell. So at the beginning, it was actually because I couldn't get a real job until I was 16. But I also didn't want a real job. I think I have that kind of entrepreneur mentality that on the sales side a little bit more. Like I like figuring out ways to make money, to provide a good service to someone, and it just came kind of naturally. So even before that company, I was always doing some sort of entrepreneurial thing. My mom will tell you I sold the neighbors snails. Like no joke, I was door-to-door snail salesman. Mainly just, again, it was like the backyard of my parents' house was covered in snails for some whatever infestation. And so I was in charge of getting them off the wall, and I put them in my wagon and I sold them to the girl down the street who thought they'd be fun pets. I painted mailboxes in order to make enough money to buy a boat. When I was young, I was really big into fishing. When I say a boat, it's a paddle boat. It wasn't a yacht or anything. But, I spent the summer painting mailboxes, doing car washes to save up $300 to buy a boat. And so it was always kind of again, just my mentality. I knew if I put in the time and work to create a business or sell something, I could grow that and I had full control. I had a lot of friends that were getting jobs at, the local burger joint or Starbucks or whatever it might be to get through high school. And they were always complaining, that they had restricted hours that they had to be there. There was no room for increased pay. I always knew that if I worked harder, I could make more money. And that was always pleasing to me versus at least from my understanding of working for someone else. Working harder doesn't necessarily always get rewarded, in your pocketbook.
That's true. That's true. I'm not good at working for other people myself. I find it to be restrictive because I don't see a lot of people that I worked for that really had good vision. They were on a very clear path with whatever business, and they didn't want to deviate from that path. And I think it was frustrating because especially it cost the businesses because eventually they really didn't do as well as they should have. So I
Yeah.
understand the frustration of working for other people.
Yeah, I only had one real job, and that was as a lifeguard. And so I don't even know if you would consider, we weren't trying to bring a product to market or do anything fancy. It was just keeping people safe. So it was a good summer job. Got a good
Yeah,
tan and got a good workout throughout the
yeah,
summer.
yeah. That's great. So it's I think a little bit unique, or not unique, but I don't think there's a lot of people out there that really have the creativity with video and photography. I think there's a lot of people out there doing it, but not that have sort of that creative mindset. And the fact that you were able to explore it at such a young age, I think is unique.
Yeah, I was blessed with some amazing teachers in high school for that. Like I dabbled in video, and as a kid, just like with my parents' camcorder. But in high school, I had a teacher, Craig Landino, who was he was one video teacher, and he turned into, I signed up for like 4 of his classes. I was in the video class, the photo class. I ended up TAing for him. So by the time I was a senior, it was like I was in his class for 6 hours a day.
Wow.
But really creative, really inspiring in that sense. And then I also had another teacher or mentor, Dave Junker, who runs a film production company that actually helps high schools educate the high school students on film production, but like at a higher level than what a high school can normally provide. Providing really good equipment and things like that. And so having those two as kind of like my mentors and inspiration helped on the creative side for sure. Coming up with just fun ways to make what would be your normal boring high school video into something much bigger, much cooler. But we never had budget, so we always had to figure out a creative way to get it done too.
Yeah, yeah. Well, that's a startup mentality. You never have a budget, and you have to always try and figure out how to get to the end game.
Yeah.
So then you founded Sparkhouse, I guess, right after.
Yeah. So right in high school, I started. I was in the video class, and as every 14, 15-year-old, I'd come home, and my mom and my dad were asking me, what I was doing in school, and I'd probably say nothing, or leave me alone. But no, they saw that I was really into video and photography, and my mom is actually a residential real estate agent. She still is today, over 30 years in the Orange County area. She came home one day, and just to kind of show me something kind of cool that she thought I'd be interested in, she showed me a video that she had just paid a company or a freelancer, I'm not sure what, of a tour of a house, a video tour. Today, that they're much more common, but back then, this was 2004, 2005. There were, YouTube wasn't really out yet, or it wasn't popular yet. The video just wasn't a thing to be streaming online. But she showed me this video and said, I just paid someone $150, and I was like, this thing is horrible. I will do it for half that price all day, every day long. And boom, that was the start of the company. I started doing the video tours for my mom. They turned out well. Being a 15-year-old, again, like I wasn't in there trying to make money. I was in there trying to make a good video. And so I would spend hours when a company might only come in and spend 30 minutes. So we did some really cool videos. I added a business partner who was on my water polo team, and it was in the video class that I just needed help, as that was growing. I couldn't even drive a car, right? So I couldn't even get to these places to film. So we started growing that, and again, that kind of entrepreneurial mindset kicked in, and we started going, hey, what else could we be offering these real estate agents that they're missing out on? So we started creating websites. Again, this was fairly new, so it was like theaddressofthehome.com, and you could go view photos, view the video, click for more information. So we were spinning up those websites using Apple's, what was it called, like iWeb, or iwebsite.com, create the little websites. We started doing photography. We were doing the printed flyers, and we were even helping with, we partnered with a sign company to help with like the actual signs, the for sale signs, and making sure that the for sale signs had the domain address on them, kind of custom for every house. That was going back to my mailbox business, painting and replacing the labels. We were working with that same kind of sign company to come out with those. But as we grew that, it was a great time to get into it. I think, as a lot of entrepreneurs will tell you, we were prepared, we were working hard, but we were also lucky. 2004, 2005 in Orange County, the real estate market was massive and it was blowing up, and there was a lot of money to be spent. If I tried to do that in 2008 at the crash, like, it would have never even left the ground.
Right.
Luckily, by that time, we already had established, we had invested in the equipment, and we were able to then pivot from that into other types of videos when that market went away in 2008.
Yeah. Yeah, that was a rough time. We actually launched a brand in 2008, and it was not an easy growth path, but we did survive it. So what were some of the early obstacles you faced with getting started? It's because it's a service business, and obviously you need to do a lot of lead generation, a lot of getting to the next client, right?
Yeah. So luckily, again, my mom being the real estate agent and me providing a service to her was a good kind of foot in the door. That was proof of concept, which is always a big thing when it comes to video marketing or any type of marketing. No one's going to hire you if you can't show a case study or show that you've done it before.
Yeah.
And so, we would do the work for her, and then her fellow agents she was at Century 21 at the time. We started helping out the other agents. And then when she moved to another brokerage, we gained more clients. We were just kind of getting exposed through kind of those networks. With real estate specific, they have a thing called a broker tour, where all of the brokers and agents come together once a week, I believe, or every other week, kind of look at all the inventory. We would try to go to those events and pitch ourselves, leave some business cards behind, buy donuts for the group, whatever it might be, to just get our name in there. So we were doing a lot of that. But I guess one of the famous ones for internally at our company that has been an ongoing client for now over almost 20 years, we actually found jobs or clients on Craigslist. So what we did was we would go to Craigslist under gigs, where people were looking for a videographer or a small video, where they might be a small company or they were a person in a marketing department that didn't have the budget to go to an agency, and they were just trying to figure out how to get it done. And we would kind of come in, and I would say, like, come in over the top and be like, hey, you don't want a videographer, you want a video production company. And even though there was only 2 or 3 of us, like, we're like, hey, we're going to come in with some creativity. We're going to write some scripts. We're going to hire some actors. We're going to film something really cool. And so one of my first commercials that we produced for an actual brand, I think he paid us $700 for 3 of them. And as I'm sure like, our prices have expanded quite a bit. But that same client has moved to other companies, and as he's moved, he's brought us on as his secret weapon, and his companies have expanded. And so now some of the companies that we're working for, even for that same contact, have grown to quite large accounts for us.
Yeah, I think that's important, because I think a lot of people, when they want to do a video for their brand, for their company, large or small, we've seen it with mega companies, they don't really have a concept, an idea, a script. They think they need a video, and they think that they want it about this subject. So it's important, I think, to have the ability to do the entire creative process or guide them through the entire creative process, or else you wind up with, I've seen a lot of, and I'm sure you have, a lot of videos out there for brands that are just not good. So,
yeah. And that's where I try to describe ourselves. We are a video production company. That is our specialty. We have the equipment. We have a full studio. We have lights, cameras, all that stuff. But at the end of the day, we also try to lean in and say we are a video marketing agency. So we're not just going to, produce whatever video you tell us to produce. We're going to ask why. We want to know, where is it going to live?
yeah,
What's the goal of that video? And even if our clients don't always go with our recommendations, we are going to give recommendations of from the experience that we have of, hey, that video might not work great on Facebook, or now you got to plan for the fact that this is going to be repurposed on TikTok or Instagram or whatever the next social media network is. And each of those have unique things that a lot of people that just haven't experienced it yet aren't actively thinking about, right? They just to give an example, like when we run a Facebook ad, we want to make sure that video obviously is engaging from the very beginning because you can scroll right past it. But beyond that, we need to make sure that it's fully understandable from beginning to end without the audio turned on. I don't know if you use Facebook on your phone, but most people are in line at Starbucks, just kind of passing time, and they hit a video, and if they need to turn the audio on, they're gonna miss it. They're gonna pass it up because
Yeah.
again, they're waiting for their name to be called out by the barista. It's a little bit different, but if a client tells us, "Hey, we're using this video to engage with investors who have requested more information from us, and we're going to be emailing it to them or presenting it to them in a meeting," I know that they're going to have a captive audience, and so we're going to use that information to better recommend the type of video, the structure of the video, all that kind of stuff when it comes to not just the creative, but again, like the strategy and the marketing side of that video.
Yeah. Yeah. There's definitely a difference between when you're doing a brand video or when you're doing a video for investors versus social media videos. We do some social media where our clients do a lot of the footage, and then they give it to us and we take it and turn it into sort of the social aspect of it. We do a lot of work with food companies and a lot of work with electronic companies, things like that. And they'll take the video, the raw footage. We find that the more I think a brand video needs to be a little bit more polished versus social media, which I think has to be a little bit more authentic or less. I don't want to say less polished, but something you could do with your iPhone versus something that you need, I think, a full setup. Do you agree with that, or do you see something totally different?
For us, it always needs to be professional. No,
No, I know.
no,
I know.
I know 100%. I agree. I think there's a lot of things that are changing. Obviously, even with your iPhone, I mean, that's a very professional camera. It's got a lot of high quality. It's sometimes even hard to notice the difference between that and some other things. But I do think that, yeah, you're right. In social media, it's more authentic. I think when you see that, like, if you literally just took a TV commercial, 15-second, 30-second TV commercial, and tried to just plop it onto Facebook, people aren't going to watch it because you can see it a mile away that it doesn't look like it fits. It doesn't fit in that
Yeah.
in that space, in that deliverable. But at the same time, it's the same kind of the opposite, right? Like if you saw a shaky phone video in the middle of Monday Night Football, maybe it would actually catch your eye more. But you're turned off by it. It doesn't look polished. It doesn't look finished. But I think I'll throw out like one note that I do have on the professionalism. I think as these stealthy videos and phone produced videos are growing in popularity, people are becoming much more forgiving of that quality, where they don't mind that it's a little bit lower quality, it's a little bit shakier, maybe it's not as in focus. But one thing that I've noticed that we really push, that people just refuse to forgive, is the audio quality. And
Yeah.
if you think about it, like if you hear a car driving by in the background, or there's wind, or it's hard to hear, like people are going to skip. It's the most annoying and frustrating thing in a video when the audio is bad. But again, if you've ever looked up even like how to do something on YouTube, you don't mind that the guy's holding the phone and shaking it a little bit. Like it's getting the job done. The video's getting out there. So beyond the marketing side, our agency, we kind of tell our clients, like, we can help with anything video, photo, animation. And so yes, our sexy stuff is like commercials, but we also do a lot of training, internal training videos, customer success, like how-to videos. So again, like once you get a product, I'm sure you've seen us selling a product, like if they don't know how to use it, or they're using it improperly, they are not going to be a happy customer. Your product can be amazing, but if they use it incorrectly and their experience is poor, they're not going to like it. So we like having a video that's included, like with the delivery of the video of a product, whether it's like on a QR code or a follow-up email, and making sure that you're satisfied with the product and how it's supposed to be used.
Yeah, I would agree. I think you said it best. It depends on the deliverable. It depends on the delivery channel as to the quality level. I think social media videos, at least from what we see, social media videos, because you're creating so many and rapidly, it's really difficult or expensive or costly to do high high definition, high quality videos on a continual basis, unless you're doing them. There's some groups out there that they make their funny, their comedy videos, but they're groups. They've got the equipment. What they're really trying to do is make their own presence online, right? Almost making their own little video shows versus a company that's just trying to do cooking videos or trying to do, a cooking product or show their product in use. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I mean that's another facet of video production that we are playing in, and whether it's UGC, user generated content, or just following someone's brand, someone an influencer or someone that has an engaged audience. If you can get them to produce a video in their style of video that they're already doing, that their audience is used to seeing.
Yeah.
The easiest connection to this would be like a QVC, right? Like people used to, or they still do, log on to QVC, watch those videos. They all look the same. They're not crazy polished, but they had that host, and they would bring in products. Some of them you like, some of them you don't, but the audience was captive and they were engaged. They were watching it. And the new QVC is these influencers, these content providers that are, yeah, they might be a local chef that does a weekly video about their favorite products. And if you're selling a product and you can get them to produce a video for you, it's amazing the amount of engagement you can get from that audience versus, paying for a 30-second Super Bowl ad, and you're playing it for a bunch of people who don't like cooking, they're not the right audience. You're kind of overpaying for the big eyeballs.
Yeah, absolutely. So let me ask you this question, because we've been getting this question a lot over the last 6 months, and we do use some tools, but how do you see AI changing your industry?
So yeah, we're trying to use AI as much as we can. I've always been again, as an entrepreneur, I don't want to get left behind. I want to make sure that at least we're trying things out. We're not going to test it on a client and hope that it works, but we're kind of comparing. Can this AI voiceover work? Right now, as of now, we're getting pushback from our clients that it kind of sounds like there's a robot on the other side saying these lines. And I was like, yeah, but that robot's super cheap, and they did it in 3 seconds instead of 2 days. So again, it depends on just using it where it fits, where that tool fits. So the voiceover is a great example. When we do an AI voiceover, I do think the quality is not as good yet. I'm sure it's going to improve. You can kind of hear the inflections are a little bit off. But the great thing about it is if in the middle of editing, or even once we're testing an ad, if we want to test an alternate version of that voiceover, I can do that with the click of a button versus auditioning another voiceover artist, seeing when they have time to get in the studio, paying for the studio time, having them record it and send it to us. So that even if they have their own in-home studio, that might take a few hours to a couple days to get that content back and test it. But we can do that super quickly with AI. So we're doing some of that. We're testing with what I really like it for is for brainstorming. So again, I'll put into some sort of AI system the key features and benefits of a product that or a brand, and have it pitch me 15 ideas. And it's just a good normally they're the most obvious, and kind of like what we've said is, like, if AI comes up with the idea, it's not original. It's what a lot of people would probably think of. And so it's a good check for us to say, hey, is this idea that we're pitching our client unique and fun? But at the same time, like we've taken some of those AI ideas and go, hey, that's a good little nugget. Let's use a piece of it here. Let's use a little piece over here. So I think the other thing that we've done with AI is more, what would you call that? Like just paperwork type stuff. Like, hey, can you convert this script into a different format, a shot list format, so that our director's ready to film this right away? And again, it just kind of gets them 70-80% there, and then we have our team hop in and really integrate their expertise in making sure that it's done properly. But we're trying to make it work, because we're there's I don't know how deep you are in AI, but you got to teach your AI, even some of these huge ones, you got to teach it to do what you want it to do. And so you can create some of these channels, and we've been feeding that AI our favorite scripts, our most successful videos, our highest converting CTAs, all those types of things, and saying, hey, look, if these are all the best CTAs, when I ask you next time, what CTA should we be using for this? It's using, it's not, we're not developing our own AI, but the answers are definitely Sparkhouse AI based answers. It's not what you would get if you typed it into that same system after you
Yeah.
teach it.
Yeah. We've been using some products for about a year. And like, I agree with you. It gets you about 60 or 70% there. We use it to develop content. We use it to develop, we'll use it to develop product descriptions for brand pages, for product pages, a lot on Amazon, but we still have to put it through an editor, human editor. We still have to put it through an editor. We still have to make sure that it reads correctly. We have not, we have some clients that go, well, just create a bunch of posts in AI. We use a product called Jasper a lot, but you put it through there and give us some images and give us some, and we tell them all the time, the images are, I'm personally don't like the images that come out of AI. I don't like it. I think they're just blends of, if you give it 2 or 3 images and you tell it to do something with it, it's just, I don't think it ever comes out right. And if you ask it just for a straight image, I don't think it really looks all that professional or all that good. So we haven't really used it for imagery. We have used it for content, for product, for things like that. And like you, ideas. If we need to create blog posts or we need to create posts in social media, we use it to get the idea flowing. We don't ever use it for the final product. You can't take it. I've never seen AI create something that I can take out of there and say, here we're gonna use this directly. We always have to put it through an editor. We still have to get eyeballs on it. But I do agree, it gets you about 60 or 70% of the way there, and some of the ideas are pretty interesting. One of our clients actually is rolling out a product that was developed in AI, or the recipe for it was developed using AI, and they're only doing it as a hitch, right? They don't. It's not better or worse or whatever than a product developer could do, but it's more about just trying to get something that'll get attention in that field, because it's getting so much attention now. So, and they developed the label using it and things like that. But it still needs to be refined. Everything still needs to be refined. But like you, I think that it's going to continue to get better. And we do feed it. We have brands on Jasper, so we provide that content in there, and it gets better and better all the time because it starts to understand what you're really looking for. So.
Yeah, and I think even outside of our final deliverable, we're using it all the time here for little things. Whether part of film production is catering, food catering, right?
Yeah.
So we order food, and we have the craft services that everyone loves sitting there with all the snacks. We've been using AI now, where we have all of the actors and client and crew put in any dietary restrictions or preferences into a document. I can upload that into the AI and have it recommend restaurants within a 5-mile radius that can accommodate all of that. And okay, that's the restaurant we're going to use, where it just saves time, right?
Sure.
Like, where normally a producer might have to look through the menu, and not to say you have to be an expert to understand dietary restrictions, but some of these diets now are getting a little funky, and you might not know that when someone says gluten free that you can't get this with this or whatever types of stuff. And so AI has helped us kind of create those menus as well.
Yeah, no doubt. We like to stay on top of it because it does help us, and it does spark that creativity, because we're working with so many different brands, and we have a division that does social media. We have a division that does Amazon. We have a division that builds websites, and sometimes people get stuck with thinking about how to just coming up with a new post, coming up with a new, a new way to build a product description, or feature benefit statements for Amazon or for a website. So I find it helpful. We use it every day in different ways, and I think it's a great product. I think it's a great set of products that we use. But like I said, I mean, I think that you have to stay on top of it in order to make it worthwhile. You can't just pull it straight out and hand it to somebody and say, "Here, go and do this."
Yeah. Well, I think, like, I just thought about this now, but like, I don't know if you know, like with agencies, a lot of these brands will go into, what they call an agency review every couple years, where they had a creative agency over the last 3-4 years, and they did some really good creative work up front. They came up with maybe some innovation in year 2, year 3, but then it starts just getting a little bit repetitive because it's got the same people working on the same job. And so again, they go into review and they say, hey, maybe an outside perspective, a different agency, even second place agency who applied 4 years ago is now just, it's better to have that new fresh intake. Maybe these agencies can use this AI to just spice that up, have that outside input, because again, I don't know how much you're familiar in that space. Like a lot of times when an agency goes under review and they get fired and a new agency comes in, if you actually look underneath the hood, 90% of the employees from that first agency actually just moved over, and they have a new creative director because that company needs to staff up and the other company needed to let everyone go. So even though this company got this new creative, it's the same people, because they want the same people really who knows the brand. They just want that little fresh take or a different take on it. And so yeah, again, we use it for that, and we found also that we use it for our company. We're in Orange County, California, so normally it's sunny and just beautiful here all the time. And we picked up a client that was focusing on winter winterizing your pipes and things like that. None of our employees have ever winterized a pipe before. Right. So we didn't know the struggles. We didn't know the issues with it. We didn't. And so, I mean, we used AI to, hey, what are the things that you need to watch out for? And it was like having, a dad that'll tell you what you got to watch out for. But again, my dad's from Long Beach, California, so he didn't know either. Right? Like, it helped us come up with ideas for the video for our little sun covered Orange County crew to figure out how you winterize pipes. So.
Yeah, that's funny. That's a great story. Yeah, we have been through the review of agencies, and we've been through it where we've lost some, and I'll tell you, we've had a couple where we've lost them and got them back within 9 months, because a lot of agencies say they can do certain things and then they don't, especially when it comes to things like when you're marketing or an e-commerce site, or you're marketing on Amazon, or you're running ads. It's really difficult to understand the history or get caught up on the history of what's happened with those ads over the past 2 years or 3 years. You switch to somebody else, they try and take over, and they don't understand it. They rebuild it, sales go down, costs go up for a period of time. And so we've been fortunate, but we do use AI to build ads. That's another thing we do. A lot of headlines, a lot of, a lot of descriptions. But again, we have somebody who looks them over before we use them, because the other problem with it is on the SEO side, because when you're building content for a site or for Amazon or whatever, they've got their own tools that they're going out, and they can figure out if a piece of content was generated by AI or not, which is another reason why you want to put it through things like a Grammarly, which is sort of AI in itself, but put it through a Grammarly and have a human edit it and make the necessary changes so that you have a good piece of content that is readable, doesn't sound like a machine wrote it, and reads like a human wrote it. So,
yeah, I know my buddies that are in SEO agencies are definitely on high alert, that they're like, don't be putting up a ton of content on your website that's AI generated. It'll get flagged, and it's not official yet. They're still trying to figure all that stuff out.
Yeah. I have to let me jump off. We've got a commercial to run, and I'll bring you back in 2 minutes.
Sounds good.
Hi, I'm Julianne Meyer, the host of Own Your Wellness, and you can watch my show on Mondays and Thursdays from 4 to 5 p.m. Pacific on Achieve TV right here on E360 TV. Remember, there's more to health and wellness than broccoli and burpees.
That was quick. I said 2 minutes, but it was really faster. So what's on the horizon for you? Is it how's business going? What do you see as the growth areas coming up? Where are you looking to do? What are you looking to do next?
Yeah. So over the last 6 months to a year, what we've been seeing, and not that this I think is a massive change. Just maybe we got exposed to it a little bit more, but we've been very busy with Amazon products. So not just your own website, your own e-commerce platform, but people who are selling on Amazon. I don't know,
Yeah.
like if you've seen, there's so many companies now that don't even dabble with putting it up anywhere else. They just put it there because it's got that, they named Amazon correct, right? It's got the biggest flow of people coming right through it all the time. And that's where people are buying stuff. So we've been creating a ton of content for those brands, just online e-commerce, third-party e-commerce. It has been huge for us over the last, again, about the last year here. We recently just moved offices. We're really excited. We're now in Costa Mesa, California, right by like John Wayne Airport, and we built out a studio here. So we have our own dedicated studio, and most people think of a studio, that big white wall, or the big green wall. So we have that, but more than that, we've been building out some custom sets, which has been really fun. So this comes back to just being able to scale the videos that we provide to our clients. But we'll build a kitchen, or we'll build a couple different bedrooms. The other day we filmed what looked like 6 different houses, but we barely moved more than 10 feet. We just repainted the walls, switched out the flooring, and can make something really engaging. And the way that the reason why we're investing into this is we're able to provide something much bigger to our clients at the same cost that we were doing it before. Us at Sparkhouse, we really don't charge necessarily for what you get at the end result. It's what it costs us to get there. So if you want me to rent 10 different houses that are $10,000 a day, you as the client are going to pay for that. But if you like what we can build here, I don't need to mark it up $100,000 just because a company down the street would have charged you that. Like we kind of put that in front, and we've just seen great partnerships with our clients, and they appreciate that, obviously, for the cost savings. But then we're able to do more videos with them, create more content. And like you said early in this call, like with social media, that's the key. You can't just come out with one piece of content a year. It's got to be ever changing and lots of different assets. So on the Sparkhouse side, I think we're going to see growth there. We're also coming out with more social media packages, which we in the past have only done that for clients that requested it from us. We didn't have that as like an offering. You would come to us for a video, and then we discuss, after this video, you might want a series of Instagram videos, a series of Facebook videos. So we are developing in-house kind of like an easy to purchase package of videos that might be a series of testimonials with a product video, with some photos. Just as we're starting to see these companies that are constantly launching and innovating new products, they need these little like marketing launch packages. And so we're working on that. Trying to think what else. Oh, the other thing, I actually have a meeting right after this. We're looking to partner with other agencies to take our videos and promote them. So we don't do that in-house. We're not interested in doing that, but this would be the actual media buying side, whether it's Facebook ads or connected TV, or even local TV. In the past, we would produce the video and give it to an agency or give it to a company, and they would bring it to another type of media buying agency. We want to at least build a network that can provide that as a service, even if it's not like through us, just with us. We'll build a little network, and just to make sure that our videos aren't just getting posted on YouTube and hope we get views, right? Let's get them out there and get some people looking at them.
Yeah, that's interesting. What are you doing on? Obviously, Amazon is huge. It's huge for us as well. It's really what we founded the whole piece on, because I started selling on Amazon back in 2006 and got really good at it. And we did it with Raw Essentials, which was a skincare line, and then with 800 razors and on and on. And so we found back in I believe it was 2019 or 2020 when Amazon first launched videos on
Mhm.
for brands, video ads, but also allowing videos on the brand pages and videos on the product pages. I believe it was beta tested in 2019. I don't know. We were in on it, and immediately we saw I saw tremendous results with video ads on Amazon, and then obviously anything you can do on the product pages to make to bring them to life. So video played a major role in that. Um, so is that the type of stuff you're talking about when you say that's what you're doing, or are you doing?
Yeah, the two main, and this goes back to my main business. Like the main things that we do is always what I would say the sexy stuff, the commercial, the selling item, and then it trickles down into these other things. And so I would say the main thing that we're doing right now is the in search video. So when you search for a new product, uh, you know, kids pool for summer, right? And you're scrolling through, one of them is going to have a little video ad in
Yeah,
between some of the listings. We'll create that. That's going to be the sexy one, right? The one that gets people excited. I want that product. I'm going to click on it. We're also doing they have connected TV. So same thing within their connected TV, they actually run ads. Those have QR codes. So you can scan the QR code while that ad's playing. It'll take you directly to the store page
yeah,
or the product page. But we're also doing, yes, the brand video, which is more a longer form. It's going to show a lot of different products, a whole breadth of products. I do think we are going to see a growth within Amazon to have that brand loyalty within even a brand store, which I don't think is really strong right now. You know, a lot of people don't even realize there's a little button where you can see that brand and see what else they offer.
yeah.
But I think that will be important, and it'll show, you know, if you really like a speaker from this company, you might want to look at their microphones and their lights or whatever that normally wouldn't have always been connected, and that's what that brand video can do. And then I hate to say the less exciting video or the slower video is the one on the product page, but I think it's super important that, you know, only so much information can be uh, explained through photography. You get
Yeah.
those 4 or 5 photos on there. People don't, you know, without seeing it, you don't hear it. You don't see the texture. You don't see how big it is, how it interacts with other things. And so those videos on the product page for me, not only are there for selling, but they're there kind of for that customer success, that customer happiness aspect where people aren't getting their product and going like, you know, I thought this thing was 10 times bigger, or I
Yeah.
thought it was, you know, it worked like this. And then now you're dealing, if you've sold on Amazon, getting too many returns is a death wish on Amazon,
Oh,
right? They're
absolutely.
going to, it's like the horror stories that I'm sure you've heard with like Costco. You know, Costco accepts all returns and they send them right back to that whoever's selling them. And so that's going to eat your bottom line. So if you can make sure that the customer understands what they're buying, I think that video can help on that front for sure.
Yeah. I mean, returns. Well, Amazon now, if you're a seller, you get ranked on those returns, and if you have too many returns, your listing will get taken down. So you really want to manage it. But I agree with you wholeheartedly. Video on the product pages, I think, is essential at this point. You know, the brand storefronts. You know, it is amazing that Amazon hasn't really pushed it. They did about 3 years ago. They used to actually have a on the menu to go to brand storefronts, but they took it away for some reason. So now you're right. You have to look, you have to click on the brand, and then you go to the brand storefront. You can look at the analytics on that, and you can see that really only like, I think 10 or 12% of your customers who go to your product pages go to your brand storefront. But it does help to convert when you have video. There's no question about it. I think it makes you look more professional. I think it makes your product look more professional, because what consumers are always wary about on Amazon is it a real product? Is it a fake product? Is it, you know, are these reviews fake? So there's always that skepticism. So the more professional you can make your product look, the more professional you can make your brand look, the better off. But yeah, and Amazon is important because, let's face it, I think 94% of buying consumers in the United States have the Amazon app on their phone. It's the
Yep.
first place they go.
But that just reminded me of like one of the things we're doing with the product page videos that we don't have data behind this yet, but we're pushing it and seeing some good results with. If you're on a product page and you say you're looking at product A from a brand, in that video we're featuring product B, C, and D, whether it's in the background, in some other elements. So if you are, again, interested in product A, you're probably a good prospect for all of the other products that they offer. And that's a great spot for us to, without like confusing the person of what they're buying, showing that this brand, this company offers a whole plethora of other things that you might be interested in. We just did a video for a company that specializes in auto like repair tools. So whether it's like wrenches and bolts and impact drills and things like that. Again, you can imagine whoever's buying an impact drill probably needs a socket set and a headlamp and an oil pan, all these other things. But again, the way that Amazon, the only thing they have is that little thing at the bottom with like the often bought together and maybe some other things. But in the video that we produced for this company, we basically had a DIY American man with his Labrador Retriever in the garage working on his truck. But in that video, there was 6 different products in that video that you could see. So like, yes, he was using the wrench that we're promoting, but if you pay attention, he also turned on a light that they also sell. He had a toolbox that he pulled that wrench out of that they also sell. And we included those in that one video. And then we also made 4 different versions of that video that they could be used on different product pages. But again, kind of subliminal cross promotion, I think is another cool thing we can do on that Amazon page.
Yeah, and you can actually track that. There's a way to see if that's effective or not.
And that's where we want to start working with agencies that are doing that, because I want to focus on the creative. I don't want to get too in the weeds of doing the analytics and everything. But that's why I think we are great partners for other marketing agencies, creative agencies that maybe don't offer that video photo aspect, because we try to stay in our lane and focus on that as much as we can.
Yeah, I think it's great. Video is becoming such a strong tool. I mean, look at Reels. Look at Reels on Instagram. Look at TikTok. Look at YouTube Shorts. These are the things that are really driving engagement today on social media, and I think it's spilling over. Again, Amazon videos on Amazon, and just video in general, video on your website. I think it's become an expectation. So the way that you can get anytime you can use video to get the concept across, get the product across, get the features and benefits across, it's a win-win. It's not like it was 4 or 5 years ago when we were just in a photography world where we were just showing static images. There is a significant difference, and we've seen it in conversions. We've seen significant differences on Amazon pages when we use video versus when we don't use video. We've seen it on brand storefronts. We've seen it on e-commerce storefronts when we use video. The key is to have it done well. You can't just before I was saying for social media, you can do a lot of things with your iPhone, but when it comes to your website, when it comes to your Amazon pages, you need those to be a little bit more well done, a little bit more quality. Not as much on social. When I talk about social, I'm really talking about in-use videos. People are showing the product, maybe they're cooking with it, and then you edit it and you create it and put it together with words across the screen and things like that, which you can get away with on social media, but you can't really do that on Amazon. And that has to be a little bit better quality, a little bit more well done.
Yeah, I'm not sure what your audience, how savvy your audience is in the marketing side, but I compare it to like if you've ever clicked on a product ad and you get driven to an obvious ClickFunnels page.
Oh, yeah.
And when you're on a ClickFunnels page, like, the quality of those are so low. But as soon as I see a ClickFunnels page, I don't consider it a brand anymore. They're just slinging a product of some sort, and it's always got a countdown, right? Of they got the short window, and those are the types of products that I think, and I think people understand that when you see it, but when you purchase it, you're not going to get a refund. You're not going to be able to return that product. That's something that's going to be drop shipped somewhere to you. So I think when you're talking to our clients, these are people they're trying to sell product, but they're trying to build a brand.
Build a brand, exactly. Yeah.
And so you need to build that trust, and you don't trust something that looks a little fishy like that.
Well, Amazon, I think Amazon made when I first started selling on Amazon, I'm sure you've seen the Bezos napkin sketch of what he thought he wanted Amazon to be. And it was really about sellers selling product. And about, I would say that they made the switch about 2018, 2017, somewhere around there, where they decided brands are more important on Amazon than just selling items, building brands on Amazon. And you've seen a lot of them, Tuft and Needle and some other brands that started on Amazon and grew. And they started putting in these tools, brand registry, brand storefronts, things like that, to allow you to start building brands. And I think it's far more important, because selling a product is you're right. There's always some skepticism to when you're just dealing with somebody who's just selling a product. And I think what you're going to see, in our world, we have to look at different aspects, and the Inform Act, INFORM, that just got passed by the government, is requiring all Amazon sellers and all Walmart sellers, et cetera, to be able to substantiate who they are and where their bank account is. So you've got to, even if you've had an account on Amazon for 10 years, you have to now show them a driver's license. You've got to show them the bank account. That it has to be in the United States. It has to be a legitimate bank account. It has to correspond to the business name. It has to correspond to the LLC or the Inc. or whatever it is. And so I think what you're going to see over the next year is a lot of fallout of bad sellers on Amazon, and a lot more growth in the brand side. So, you're 100% correct. Building brands is what you want to be doing all across e-commerce, not just on Amazon. So,
well, outside of even my business, I would appreciate that on Amazon side anyways. Like when I'm going to purchase something, if it, again, just diving into Amazon details, but if it doesn't have that buy button in the corner, you're not buying from a brand. You got the little drop down. Now you're buying from, Phil's garage or Torrey's apartment, and maybe there's a brand mixed in there, And I appreciate the hustle. There's guys out there, that are buying stuff and reselling it, and there's money to be made there. But again, it's not a brand. They're just selling a product there. And again, for Sparkhouse specifically, those aren't our customers, right? We're looking to help brands build and stuff.
Yeah, well, product guys, we don't do any business with resellers. We don't do any business with just product guys. Our whole focus is brands and working with brands and building brands, because I'm not a big fan of resellers on Amazon. I've never been. I think that they're a challenge when it comes to trying to actually build a brand. And they try and get a hold of your product, and it always becomes a mess. But so we're very focused on brands. That's all we work with. And but yeah, I think that there's going to be a tremendous amount of growth still in Amazon. I think there's going to be a lot of fallout from bad sellers. Same thing across the whole e-commerce spectrum. I think you're going to see it in websites as well, because once you take away Amazon from a lot of these guys, even if they have a website, they're not going to be able to survive.
Right. Yeah. It's massive. I've heard some horror stories about people removing their buy button, and their sales go from 15,000 a day to less than 5. With just a little redesign on those pages and stuff. And so that is a risk you're taking living in that space.
Yeah, well, I can tell you that like I said, I've been on Amazon since 2006. I can tell you horror stories, but we wouldn't have enough time for me to go through all the horror stories that I've seen and experienced on there. So, So yeah, we're getting close to the end, Torrey. So any inspiring thoughts or inspiring comments that you want to give to a young entrepreneur starting out? I mean, certainly here you were starting out when you were 14. It's almost as if you knew you had a direction that you wanted to go in at that young age, which I don't think a lot of people have. So I think it's pretty inspiring to see that, and see that you stayed on that path and continue to grow it and continue to move it in different directions. Anything, because most of our people, most of our viewers are young entrepreneurs, male, female, between the ages of say 18 and 40. And, they're always looking for clues.
Yeah. Well, I'll be the first one to admit I didn't have a plan. It wasn't planned out. Whenever I tell the story, I'm like, dang, that was a good plan, but I didn't talk about all the trips along the way, right? The struggles that we go through. But, I guess the world, the economy, our customers forced us to deliver the different things. Like I said, the the very first customer base that I had was the real estate market that crashed in 2008. And we immediately pivoted. I was dating a cheerleader at the time, and we started filming their cheerleading competitions, and that blew into a completely different area of business for us for live events. We were one of the first companies to have like interactive DVDs that you could purchase of these events, and you could actually change the camera angles. Again, we were kind of just trying to figure out anything to disrupt just where we happened to be sitting at that space. So
To be
yeah, I
different.
guess, yeah, to be different, but not just to be different for the sake of being different. We were literally just trying to make a better product for our customers.
Yeah.
So cheerleading competitions, just to give you there's a flash from the past, but like when we film a competition, it's a performance. There's 30 performers on stage, and they're all interacting, and basically the way that that's supposed to be viewed is from that one wide angle where you
Right.
see everyone, and that's boring. It's super boring. And so as a cinematographer, as a movie maker, we wanted to have engaging, zoom ins and close ups and people's facial reactions. And we started doing that. And then we started getting pushback from the coaches saying, I want these videos so we can help train, so we can see how we look, how everyone can see. And so that forced us to come up with an option where we had a version you could watch that was exciting and fun to show like the grandparents, that wasn't just a training tool, but then the coach could change the angle and literally see the full team. Again, I would have never thought to do that. I would have thought that was going backwards. Why would anyone want to do that? But that was something that the coaches, our customers, wanted us to do. So we were flexible. We pivoted. We changed a lot. The only other advice that I would have, and this is kind of, I think, a little bit different than most entrepreneurs, at least from my experience, is I really enjoyed the fact that, like I said, I learned film in high school. I took some really great classes in junior college. I went to USC for film school. So I'm a very film oriented person. I like making videos. And that has been a huge help for me in the dips of our business and cash flow when it comes to, at the end of the day, I can go into the studio and I personally can film and get it done if I need to. And that allows me to, again, find that client that's willing to pay $700 for 3 commercials. And I did it myself, versus if I had to go hire someone and rent the equipment and, bring everything in, I would have been limited. So I did enjoy the fact that I'm able to always hop in there if I need to. And that allows us to grow organically. We did a couple commercials. We put more money into hiring more crew. We did a couple more commercials. We put more money into equipment.
Yeah.
Get a couple more commercials. We get an office. So it was able to grow. I didn't need to get an investor. But there's pros and cons. Me personally, owner operator, I like the fact that I can get my hands dirty if I need to. And luckily, I don't have to all the time.
Well, that's great. Hey, I really appreciate you coming on. I think it was great. I think it was great to hear your story. We're out of time. I apologize. We're running a little bit over, but so good to have you, and I appreciate you being here.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Sure. All right, I just have some cleanup to do in the next few seconds.
All good. Yeah, we'll connect soon. All right.
All right.
Have a good rest of your day.
Thanks. You
Thanks,
too.
everyone.
So again, Torrey, great story. Unfortunately, not a lot of time to wrap up, but don't forget, if you go to my site, philmasiello.com, you can get a free business planning download. It's free, totally, just to help you think through and how you handle your startup, how to think through your startup. So, another great day. So